Welcome to Key Tech. Please describe this channel if you are interested in today's video. Not taking Chinese consumers seriously back then seems to have sealed Samsung's fate. As we all know, South Korean giant Samsung is one of the first mobile phone manufacturers to enter China. At its most prosperous time, Samsung won 1/3 of the market share in mainland China, beating various mobile phone manufacturers. And even Jobs and Apple had to hold their breath. However, despite being the top seller in mainland China, Samsung has never taken mainland Chinese consumers seriously. The Note 7 explosion door is the strongest lead that crushes this giant. According to the data, in 2016, due to frequent explosions of Note 7, Samsung announced the recall of sold mobile phones, but mainland China was excluded. Such an arrogant move completely ignited the anger of the Chinese people. They will never buy Samsung mobile phones again. After this battle, the word of mouth and sales of Samsung mobile phones in China have plummeted. So far, its market share in the mainland has dropped to less than 1%. In this context, the mobile phone overlord had to close all mobile phone factories in China. In this regard, many Korean media lamented, 30 years of hard work were cleared overnight. It stands to reason that without the Chinese market, Samsung's life should not be easy. But the reality is that this Korean giant has a better life than anyone else. Its profits continue to hit new highs. What is even more surprising to Chinese people is that most of these profits come from mainland mobile phone manufacturers, because Samsung has stuck China's neck in the field of OLED screens. According to Korean media reports, in 2021 alone, Samsung will capture 72% of the global mobile phone OLED screen market share, ranking first in the world. Relying on its technology monopoly advantage, Samsung not only imposes technical restrictions on Chinese OLED LCD screens, but also deliberately drives up prices to force Chinese consumers to pay. According to incomplete statistics, in the past few years, the amount of LCD panels imported by China has reached as high as $457 billion, equivalent to more than 3 trillion yuan, which is almost equivalent to the annual import of chips. In the end, these profits were pocketed by Samsung. In the face of Samsung's monopoly on LCD panels to drive up prices, the National Development and Reform Commission issued a huge monopoly fine to it during the period, but this is completely useless action. In order to break Samsung's monopoly, BOE, a panel company in mainland China, stepped forward. The problem is that at this time, BOE is lagging behind Samsung by more than 1.5 stars in the field of OLED screens. It is not realistic to overtake on a curve in a short period of time. But even in such a situation, BOE is gnashing its teeth to catch up, and has lost hundreds of billions of dollars in just a few years. Sure enough, hard work paid off, and then BOE waited for a turning point. It acquired South Korea's low-generation LCD panel production line for $380 million, and at the same time received more than 120 Korean engineers from Hynix, thus opening the door to TFT-led technology. In the next few years, BOE started to build production lines in Beijing, Hefei, Huizhou, Mianyang, and other places. After 14 years of continuous losses and burning more than $300 billion investment, BOE has finally ushered in the rise, Not only has the import volume of China's LCD panels continued to decline, but it has also given domestic mobile phone manufacturers the bargaining power for the first time. At that time, many South Korean media said helplessly that China asked for it. In fact, as the Korean media said, mainland China, which has been stuck by Samsung for many years and has taken the road of independent innovation, has emerged as the world's largest LCD panel production region. At the same time, the leader BOE also began to compete with Samsung overseas, and even shocked a lot of Korean netizens. BOE has caused South Korea to lose hundreds of billions. However, what Korean netizens don't know is that BOE's successful counterattack in the field of OLED liquid crystals is not an isolated case. Even in the biological anti-aging Zhuhongqian ice track, mainland China has also replicated this miracle. As we all know, live longer is the common long-cherished wish of mankind, and this technology has been monopolized by Harvard and MIT as early as the beginning of the 21st century. Scientists from Yinhe and Ma have successively confirmed that Zhuhongqianbing has considerable potential in delaying the aging of the aging target body and improving the rejuvenation of memory. Subsequently, the United States and Japan wantonly harvested the wealth of the mainland's rich and powerful through the cross-border channels of Beijing and Mao, and even sold it at a price of up to 20,000 yuan per gram. Faced with the actions of American and Japanese companies, how can Chinese researchers remain indifferent? Therefore, under the blessing of Made in China, the Chinese Academy of Sciences and other personnel successfully realized the domestic enzymatic process, and overnight the US and Japan monopolized the technology at a high price, making it a cabbage price of 1,000 yuan. It is said that Warren Buffett, the stock god, has earned billions of real money through international channels through early adopters and early adopters. With the arrival of the price of cabbage, the United States not only did not take advantage of it, but was reversely entered into the US market by China. For the American media, this is undoubtedly the repeated performance of overtaking on curves in the fields of high-speed rail, new energy vehicles, and OLEDs in mainland China. Data show that BOE has made breakthroughs in flexible OLED screens, including Huawei Mate series mobile phones, which use BOE flexible screens. Surprisingly, like